Happy Devils Wednesday. This is the State of the Fan Address, episode 174, titled Ready for a Hughes Year? I'm your host, Sam Wu, here with Pucks and Pitchforks blog editor-in-chief, Nick Villano, as we're coming to you live from the primetime radio studios here in beautiful New Jersey, and that dump called Philadelphia. That's where Nick's at. Streaming live on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter Live, and Twitch on the Let's Go Devils Network. Nick, how are you, my friend? I hate doing these podcasts when you're in an undisclosed location. It sounds like you're in a dungeon somewhere with no internet.
Yeah, it feels that way too. I appreciate the fans kind of bearing with me, just kind of on everything. As you see, I've done podcasts from 4 different locations in the past 4 weeks. One I didn't even do. It's been different days. And on the past 4 Wednesdays, I've been in 4 different states.
Wow.
So, I'm doing my best here. But we got a special treat for them later this week. To make up for my crappiness, listen, I'm moving to New Jersey. It's going to be a good thing overall. I'll be more with the fans. I'll be able to talk to you more face-to-face. I'll be able to give more face time to people and actually see them. But a little train's going to suck.
You know what, Nick? I hate to do this on live air, but your internet sucks. Cutting out. So let me translate this to everybody. Nick's moving right now. He doesn't have the greatest internet, and he tells me this about half an hour prior that he's at an undisclosed location. But that's okay. He's here. We're doing it. We don't make excuses.
Get the hell out of here.
I know. I'm just trying to be over dramatic. But I will tell the fans though. What I will tell the fans though is, I'm going to take over from here, Nick, and just talk. No, I'm just kidding. That there was a question on the Woo Report yesterday, and I got to get this off my chest because we got a great guest tonight, Dan Rice. Dan Rice is on pucksandpitchforks.com, and for those that have said, somebody said in the YouTube live chat that loves pucksandpitchforks.com, wish they were credentialed. And I'm like, Dan Rice is credentialed through pucksandpitchforks.com with the New Jersey Devils directly. So correction there. Pucksandpitchforks.com has credentials through Dan Rice with the New Jersey Devils. And he asks good questions at the pressers, I might add.
Yeah, and that's the thing I've been trying to change the perception that I am not Pucks and Pitchforks. I control the Twitter account, but I am not the entity. I've lost count of how many writers we've had. We have a lot. We have over 12. We have over a dozen different writers, including Dan Rice, our beat reporter. So yeah, I mean, I'm excited to talk to Dan tonight. I'm always excited to talk to Dan. I love talking to him ever since he was with the Hockey Writers, and now he's with us. I'm so proud to have him as part of our team. Vinny Parisi writes one, and we got Sam who's writing a piece that's coming out tomorrow. We got a bunch of new writers, a bunch of old writers. I've had Rob DeLuca and Charlie Borges Jr. on the team for 3 or 4 years now. So
Yeah.
we've had, Sam is a writer. He hasn't written in a while, but he's a writer. On Pucks and Pitchforks.
Sam is a slow writer. Sam is a procrastinator. Sam runs out of things to say, and then when he gets an idea, then he starts typing away, and then he sends it to Nick, and he's like, I can't make up any sentences, so you're going to have to figure it out and put it all together for me. And then voila, you got yourself a beautiful, beautiful article on pucksandpitchforks.com. And by the way, Nick, you make us look, or specifically me, like a professional writer that I've been doing this for the last 25 years. So thank you.
And listen, I understand that, our writers do get paid, but if you don't write a lot, you don't get paid a ton. So what I pay you in is I try to really good, so you could use it for other things. So, I appreciate that, Sam, and I'm excited for the season. So we can kind of jump into this. I'm really, really excited for the season because I'm going to be living in. I won't have to be.
Could you repeat that again? Sorry, Nick.
I said I'm living in my damn house, so I wanted to be dealing with this.
Oh, I know. It's the summertime blues. Ramona Rice says, "Let's go Devils." Lil Fireboy 87 says, "Hey Sam and Nick." Christopher in the YouTube live says, "Good evening, guys. Hopefully all is well." Nick's at some undisclosed location in Philadelphia, no less. Was I supposed to tell you that? Boy, I shouldn't have said that because I said undisclosed, and it's basically
it's a big city. I don't think they can find me.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, Matt Junio says, "Thank you for posting my last draft, Nick Villano, in the Facebook Live." See, you have conversations. You have conversations going on all over the place. But I should get Dan Rice very soon. But I don't know what to do, Nick, because we're having some technical difficulties right now. And this isn't good.
It'll be, what? I think you just got to do what you got to do at this point. We just got to figure it out.
Nick, can you do me one?
Number?
Yeah, I have Dan's number, but let's do some tech support on live air right now. Nick, why don't you log off? Let me get myself to full screen. You listen to me. You log off, Nick, and you connect that computer to you, tether it to your cell phone, and let's see if that works. I see him trying to do that right now. So Nick is off live air. Now I've taken over. Now I'm on air. Hello, folks. Little technical difficulties. Nick is traveling around, finding his new home here in New Jersey. He was on a business trip last week. But let's talk about Jack Hughes and Luke Hughes. The Hughes brothers are in the news, specifically Luke Hughes. Let me tell you, he's ripping up World Juniors right now. He's piling up some points as a defenseman. But, the main thing is, and Team USA plays tonight, World Juniors, and the main thing about Luke Hughes, is that, well, he's Luke Hughes. He looks like a beast out there. And he turns 19 years old next month. I believe September 9th. I believe it's a September baby. And that's a good thing. Let me get some of your comments as we're trying to get Nick back on. Let's see if he's actually got back on. But let's see. Is he texting me? Let's see here. You know what, Nick? I'm going to try to figure this thing out and try on live air, no less. I think Nick's trying to log back in. Boy, this is why we do not do things last minute, my friend, Nick Villano. This is why we don't do things last minute, so we don't do these things on air. We can't do that to our listeners. Uh-oh. What did you do, Nick? Uh-oh. I probably just kicked him off. Oh, this is not good. This is not good, folks. We will try to get Dan Rice and Nick Villano back on. Let's try to do this again. I may have to do this. Where is the kill switch here? Not good. Sorry, folks. Having a little technical difficulties here on live air. Nick Villano, we've lost him. I don't know what he's doing right now. But we're going to have Dan Rice on very soon. Christopher says, no problem. Take your time. Yes, we've got some time here. Let's see here. All right. See Nick trying to log back in. We're going to try this again. We will try this again and see if it works. See if it works. See if it works. See if it works. He should be logged back in. Nick, what happened? Are you on your phone right now? We lost him. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. It's one of these podcasts where I'm kind of glad that it's not during the season. So we're having technical difficulties, folks, on this fine podcast called the Let's Go to Elves podcast. I don't know what to do. Folks, sometimes it happens on live air. Technical difficulties. So I want to hear your comments. Help me through it. I don't know. I don't know what to do. You know what? I'm going to call Nick Villano. Let me call Nick Villano by phone and talk to him that way. I don't know. Should I do that? What do we do, folks? What do we do? I lost Nick Villano. Let's try it again. Let's try it again with Nick Villano. Try it again. Try it again. Try it again. Let's see if we got Nick Villano. Nick, you're on live air. I think I got you. Hopefully I got you. Nick, are you back?
Send a link to my phone.
I can't do it right now. I wish I could, but we're in the middle of the podcast. Why? Because I got to.
Makes sense. Hold on. I'm going to figure this out. Take me off. Hold on. I'm going to figure this out. Go talk to Dan.
You were supposed to tether your phone to the laptop.
I don't know what that means.
Hotspot your phone to the laptop. So all right, I'll send you the link.
Go.
Go get Dan? Is that what you said?
Yeah, go get Dan. Yes.
Okay. All right. So you're going to talk to the audience?
Yep. No, you talk. Just go. I'm talking to the audience. Go get Dan, and I got this somehow. Okay. So Luke Hughes is good, guys, right? Yeah, much better than Philadelphia Internet. That's for sure. Luke Hughes is just crushing it up in the World Juniors. I think he has what is he? 6 points so far? A goal and 5 assists. He's gonna crush it over at University. Yeah. But that's I mean, talk to that. I'm excited to talk about Jack Hughes making the top 20 centers list. That's really exciting. Jack Hughes got put on a list by the NHL saying that he could be the best center in the game in 3 years. A lot of people were very angry about that he was put on there over Leon Draisaitl, which you're not even the best center on your team. Are you ever going to be the best center in the NHL? Yeah, I don't think that's how it's going to work. So I'm a hard pass on that. I listen. I'm not going to sit here and say that Hughes is better than now. I think I'm back. This is fun. This is fun, folks. Technical difficulties in the Let's Go Devils podcast.
Nick, you should always listen to me. You should always listen to me. But we have our good friend Dan Rice on the line right now. He and I are gonna have to really take over.
What's going on? Sam,
Dan, are you there?
Something. You got this.
Hey, what's up, guys?
This feels like season 1,
Sam,
episode 1.
Dan.
I'm talking
Can you
to
hear me?
Dan.
Just talk to
I
Dan.
can hear you,
Sam.
Dan. I'm taking over right
Dan.
now. We got Dan Rice of pucksandpitchforks.com. You can find him on Twitter at DRiceHockey. Sorry, Dan, we've got a lot of technical difficulties, more of communication issues. But Dan, how's your summer going?
My summer's going pretty well. I'm actually looking forward to it ending, but so far it's been pretty good, and hopefully everybody out there listening has had a great summer as well.
Yeah, and well, you know who's having a good summer? Luke Hughes. Have you seen some of the World Juniors recently, Dan? I mean, he's putting up the points, looking like he's above the pack on Team USA.
I haven't. I'm going to be honest. I haven't watched the games, but I have watched the highlights, and pretty much every game, Luke Hughes is a human highlight machine. So I've been able to see a lot of what he's been doing. To some degree, it's kind of what I expect, or what I think everybody else is expecting. Right? We're expecting him to go out there and pretty much dominate and show why he's the highly touted prospect that he is, and I'm pretty sure that most, if not all, Devils fans are salivating at the prospect of seeing him wearing the red and black in another year. But that's a little bit down the line, and that's going to be interesting because he's so young and he's just going to keep getting better and better. So if his trajectory continues, the Devils have really found themselves a gem in Luke Hughes.
Now, Dan, I don't know if you have any information on this or whatever, but the Michigan coach recently just got, fired, I guess, and is that going to have an impact on Luke Hughes' decision in staying at Michigan for next year? Do you think it absolutely does, or is it just one of those things where it's a very unfortunate incident, but he's going to stay the course, whatever that course is?
Yeah, I think it's pretty much set. I don't think the coach is that big of a difference. I think he's going to play out this season. Hopefully for him and for Michigan Wolverine fans, it ends with a championship. And whenever the season ends, be it in the national championship or before then, he'll be joining the Devils as soon as that happens. So I don't expect him to stay past this current season, this upcoming season rather, and that's been the plan for his development all along. I don't think anything's going to change in that regard. Hopefully, like I said, hopefully it ends in a championship for him and the numerous Devils prospects that are now at the University of Michigan. I think they have 3 now.
Oh, Ethan Edwards and the other guy, Seamus Casey, looking good so far.
Yeah, so that's the team that a lot of us that have cable, you can get the Big Ten Network. So when the Devils aren't playing, you can pop in and try and find Michigan Wolverines hockey game on, and that should be appointment viewing for Devils fans.
Yeah, definitely. So moving forward, the other Hughes brother, Jack Hughes, ranked number 17 by NHL Network. Your thoughts on that? Did you think that the list was pretty accurate?
I mean, I don't know. The lists are, for people to debate over, and that's the whole point and purpose of them. I guess that's about right where he fits. I mean, we all know the talent that Jack has, and the type of player that he is, and we also recognize that he's young, right? He's only been in the league for a little bit of a hot minute here. And as he gets older and gets better and develops more and becomes puts more muscle on, develops into a man from a young man, I think the sky is the limit, and he'll probably be at the top of those lists. But those lists are. I chuckle every summer because these lists come out and everybody loses their mind on Twitter or wherever, or Facebook about these things, and it's just it's an arbitrary list. Like, everybody put together their own list, and if that's what you believe, then that's what you believe. If some people do it to be pains in the butts, but these lists are this is what NHL Network wants. They want everybody talking about their list in the middle of the summer when nothing's going on. So it's just, it is what it is for me. Like, I don't it doesn't hold any weight or credence or anything like that in my opinion.
Yeah, and Nick Villano says that the NHL Network said Jack Hughes could be one of the best centers in the league in 3 years. Do you see that being possible, being Connor McDavid level possibility?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see any reason why not. We've seen little glimpses, right? When Jack takes over a game and he starts to stick handle through the neutral zone and into the zone, and setting up guys on the power play, and the couple of times we saw where they really moved the puck around very quickly on the power play. So yeah, I don't see any reason why he can't be a top 3 center. Think maybe like I don't know, Connor McDavid is, one in a million, but, maybe like an Austin Matthews kind of player, especially if you want to compare like to current American players. In 3 years, I don't see why we can see Jack averaging, 40 goals, 40 assists every season. That's a little bit of a high ceiling, but I think, there's no reason if he continues to develop the way that he has, and he's the type of player that we all think he is, there's no reason he shouldn't be in that conversation.
Yeah, and we've been talking about prospects after spending a few days at prospects camp a few weeks ago. What prospects are the most excited? Which one's the most excited about, Dan? That you've seen?
Obviously, Nemeth, right? He's moves right to the top of that list. Mm-hmm. They have a couple of other guys that we've seen kind of come up through these camps, like a Fabian Zetterlund, like somebody that nobody's thinking of. Obviously, Holtz. Holtz is a guy that everybody's waiting for him to take that next step and become an NHL regular, and he has to come out and have a good camp, and I don't see why he wouldn't make the team if he has a good camp. But that remains to be seen. There's a lot of things to sort out between now and then. But I just got to say, it was nice to be back at the development camp. I was there for the Wednesday night. I believe it was the Wednesday night where they had the 3-on-3 tournament, the little scrimmages, and that was awesome to see, like a packed rink in the middle of July, and to actually be there and be able to go into the locker room and do interviews. Like, that's something that we as reporters haven't had for the past 2 years. Basically, everything has been on Zoom or at podiums or lecterns or whatever we want to call them. It's been a little frustrating, so it was really awesome to have that aspect back, and obviously looking forward to that as we get to training camp and as the season gets going as well.
Absolutely. And you are a credentialed writer.
I
Devil's
am.
writer. And there's somebody new in the press box. His name is Bill Spalding, new play-by-play announcer for MSG Networks and the Devils. What are your thoughts on that hiring?
Yeah, I mean, it's by all accounts, it's a great hire. I love his enthusiasm. I saw, or rather, watched a couple of his clips that were posted online. Full disclosure, I had heard his voice, but I'm not sure I knew what his name was, and before this came to light. So he's got big shoes to fill, obviously, taking over for Steve Cangelosi. But hopefully it all goes great, and hopefully I'm sure I'll get to meet him at some point in the press room pregame, and hopefully he has a great season, and hopefully he's calling a lot of wins this year. It's a little bit of a new era starting for the Devils right here in the last couple of years, and hopefully he's the voice that will be calling many, many, many wins on the MSG networks in the next couple of years here.
Yeah, I still wonder if Erica Wachter had some pull here because it came from the University of Syracuse, the Newhouse school.
Possibly.
Yeah, I think that probably twisted some arms. You think?
It's also a very, very popular school where a lot of broadcasters do pass through there. So, it's in my other alternate reality, I guess, or variant of myself when I cover women's hockey. I cover a lot of players that come from Syracuse, and they all kind of major in that broadcasting or reporting, and they go through. They all take those kind of classes up there. So good for them, and hopefully they've produced another great product. Obviously.
Yeah, and as he's calling the opening night down in Philly, where the Devils start on October 13th. At Wells Fargo Center. Do you think that Bill Spalding will be saying the name Simone Nemec on the opening night roster? Do you think he has a shot from what you saw?
That's a great question. I mean, I think it's kind of the same thing as Holtz. Like, you have to come in and take somebody's job, right? You have to play, and it's the most cliche thing ever, but players always say, like, oh, I'm in the best shape of my life. Every training camp. But those guys, they have to be at the top of their game. They have to be in the best shape of their very young lives, and they have to go out there and they have to take a job. And sometimes injuries and those kind of things, they play a factor as well. But all things being equal, they have to go in there and they have to take somebody's job. And looking at the defense that they have on the roster right now, I give Nemec a pretty good chance to make the roster if he has a great camp. But if he doesn't, I don't think that's the worst thing in the world either. I'm always a proponent of guys playing at least a few minor league games just to get adjusted to the whether it's North American hockey, smaller rinks, playing against men, however it be. Like I just feel like it's such a great tool that the teams have at their disposal. And I love to see a guy play at least like 100 games down there and really, get into the grind of it. And that league is really a grind sometimes with those. They play a lot of 3 games in 3 nights, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So it's a good test. And, last year we saw Holtz have a great season. Utica had a great season. Unfortunately, it ended abruptly in the playoffs, but that's what you want to see. And we haven't seen it in a while in the Devils organization. You want to see your prospects have a good season and get accustomed to winning and playing in close games and coming back to win games and all those kind of things. It all adds up down the road for a better NHL player, I believe.
You're listening to the State of the Fan Address presented by pucksandpitchforks.com. I'm Sam Wu here with Nick Villano. Dan Rice is our guest. You can find him on Twitter at DRiceHockey. Dan, your other love, passion, because I know I'm a little jealous that you had dinner with Rebecca Moose Morse, who was on the Woo Report with me a couple of weeks ago. She and I went fine dining to some exotic Chinese restaurant.
Nice.
Yeah, and that little jealousy that when you two went out for some steaks and surf and turf, apparently got me thinking. So we went out and had a great meal. I'm just kidding around, Dan. But the PHF looks like it's expanding right now. Tell me a little bit more.
Yeah, they added, believe it or not, in the middle of the off season, when the other 6 teams had already signed officially about 10 to 12 players each. The PHF announced that they were placing a team in Montreal for the upcoming season, and to their credit, they've been. It's been about maybe a month since the team was announced, and they have 16 players signed. It just shows the level of interest as well as talent that they've been able to fill their roster pretty quickly. Obviously, Montreal and Quebec and Canada as a whole is a hockey mad place and hockey rich as far as talent, and the same thing can be said on the women's side. So they've assembled quite a nice team there. And I'm looking forward to seeing them when they come through here to New Jersey and when they play the Riveters, and hopefully as well when they play in Connecticut against the Whale.
For those that don't know, Dan Rice not only covers the New Jersey Devils for pucksandpitchforks.com, credential writer, but he's also a credential writer covering the PHF, the Premier Hockey Federation. And I just had to ask, these questions, Dan, because you're my go-to guy to find out what's going on. But I think it's great for the game as a whole that they're expanding in Canada. You got the Toronto 6, now Montreal, and I think the PHF is expanding. But just switching gears a little bit, because Nick is dying to ask you. And for those that are watching on YouTube Live and Facebook Live and Twitter Live, ask Dan any questions because I may read it off if they're a good one. But he wants me to ask you, do you think the Devils are going to really compete in the Metropolitan Division after this offseason? Do you think they have a shot?
That's probably the $1 million question. I think they have a shot. They have to have a few things break their way, right? It's obviously a very competitive division. You have to hope, that the goaltending holds up, obviously, number one. They just need somebody to kind of hold the fort down and not give up, 5 to 8 goals 2 out of 3 nights a week. This team is going to score goals. I think we all expect that. I think that's not something that's going to shock us, right? They have the talent to put the puck in the back of the net. Can they play enough defense to make it count and rack up wins in the win column? They have to get off to a hot start. I think that's crucial too. Often we see it's very hard for teams to come back into a playoff spot if you're not in it, say around Christmas time, right? A few outliers here and there, but you don't want to be that team. You want to be in the position where you're not being you're not chasing, you're being chased. And that's kind of what we all want to see. I think everybody wants to see competitive games, end of the season. I think teams like Pittsburgh and Washington might be able to be had and maybe possibly leapfrogged over. Depends how things shake out with goaltending in Washington. I know Backstrom is going to be out. You don't know how long. Pittsburgh, they're still holding on to the 3 amigos with the 3 cup winners in Letang, Malkin, and Crosby. Obviously great talents, but it's just the year that they finally maybe miss out. We'll see. We'll see how that all plays out. Everybody else in the division is probably going to be a player too. I mean, there's no real easy games, right? There's no easy teams. You hope that you're making progress and taking the next step, and the next step would be at least competing for a playoff spot by the trade deadline. If they fall out of it, then okay, that's not what everybody wants, but at least it's a step in the right direction. It's a little bit of progress, and it depends on how you get there and all that. Who's hurt, who's not hurt, who's performing, who's not performing. I don't think it's a hopeless situation. I don't think the season is lost already. It is an uphill climb, obviously, a tough division, but I think there is a path there, and you just have to have a couple of things break right.
We have a few questions coming to you from the YouTube Live. People want to know, Dan, do you think, John Sumner, do you think one more player is added to the roster before preseason?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a PTO or two that we see as a camp invite, maybe. Similar to what we've seen in the past with guys like Jimmy Deasy and other names that are kind of eluding me at the moment. Thomas Caberlet, for some reason, just popped into my head. I think he was one many, many years ago. So, something like that is what I expect.
He's still in the league? Are you talking about Tomas Caberlet? I thought Cam Jansen took care of him back in 2007.
Yeah. So that was kind of funny that he was in Devil's Camp a couple of years ago as a camp invite.
Oh, but, that's right.
He was at the very end of his career.
Yeah.
But, so something like that is what I expect. And sometimes still, I mean, I can still see a scenario where there's a trade. I still feel like they have kind of an abundance of...
Severson for JT Miller? John Sumner?
No, I don't know if I'm ready to move Severson just yet. But if you can move a forward for another defensive depth forward or a depth defenseman, or even a draft pick, like that's something that I think all those options should maybe be on the table because there were a few departures as far as the minor league system and as far as some of the players that played for the Devils last season, but there are still a little bit of a glut at the forward position, I think, and so we'll see. We still have a little ways to go here before we get to training camp. About a month, right? Almost just about a month exactly.
Yeah. One last question from the YouTube Live. Shane Van Sickle claimed on the Woo Report the other day that he saw me walking around with my Golite helmet. Anyway, that's just a random thought. He's asking, who's a dark horse to make the team? And I think that's a great question. I've got mine, but I'll let you choose your guy. That could be a dark horse.
I guess dark horse for me would probably be Zetterlund. He might be like a favorite. Like I think a lot of people think he might be on the team, but I look at the number of forwards that they have, and I don't know if there's a path for him to get there, unless he takes somebody's job. I'm
gonna name another dark horse just because you named my guy, Kevin Ball.
I can see that
because he's going to bring the size. If he acts like a monster. Like, when he came back the second time around and he was confident.
You could see the confidence, definitely.
Yeah. If he's confident in camp and he acts like an animal, uses his size, that reach, you can't ignore putting him on the roster opening night because of those, those features. He's God's gift. He's tall, he's lanky, but he's big. And he's tough.
Yeah, if he shows up in camp and he's looking like Zdeno Chara in his prime, there's no way he's not on that opening night roster. Like, if it means that somebody has to go on waivers or somebody has to get traded, that's a move that you make. He's a guy that I really like. I think that year, the COVID year, I think was a benefit for him playing in Binghamton when they played in Newark. I think he really, really adapted well to what the way that they wanted him to play. And as you said, you could see after the first call up when he came up the next time, you could see the difference in the confidence and he gets that little mean streak going. And he's definitely a throwback kind of player. And if he can harness it all, and like I said at the top, if he can kind of turn into a Zdeno Chara, like, then you just found like gold right there. And
with that Taylor Hall trade, no less.
I was just gonna say, if I'm not mistaken, that's part of the Taylor Hall trade. That's hockey sometimes. That's how things work out. Like, he's kind of, I don't know how hard they fought to get him in that package, or Arizona was just willing to part with him, but
Yeah.
That makes the trade worthwhile in my mind. And didn't he get Mercer with one of the picks too? So that's a W right there. Like,
Yeah, and don't forget, and people are reminding me on the YouTube live that Hoyuk looked like a beast as well.
yeah,
Also,
he's another one.
here's an interesting comment. Ball is Graves' replacement. Trade Graves for a scoring winger. Well, you know what? Let me tell you something. A lot has to happen before that happens, but Graves is on a contract year. And
Yep.
I think that's very interesting to me. The guys are on a contract year, both Graves and Severson, specifically on defense.
And if you end up having, if they decide to flip one of them at the trade deadline, then that probably opens up. That means that it's opening up, more minutes for Ball to play, because he's been, if he can have that kind of a year, where it'll make those guys like it'll make them expendable basically. That's what you want, right? You want internal competition. You want guys pushing guys, because we know, as we discussed when you first had me on, Luke Hughes is coming, right? He's going to be here next year too. So that likely means that either Severson or Graves isn't coming back for the following season. So, but things change pretty quick, especially in this game. So it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out.
Nick Villano's internet feed just came back alive. Nick, you've got a question?
No, I have a dark horse.
Oh, okay. Who's your dark horse? And we lost him. We lost you.
Wait, I think
it didn't work.
You got me? No?
We got you now.
My dad again? My dark horse is Nolan Foote.
Nolan Foote.
I like it. I like Nolan Foote. I think he's going to be a good player.
He has the shot to be on that fourth line and contribute. He has tenacity. He has something. He just hasn't put it there. But if he worked hard this offseason and really put in the work, which I'm sure the Devils made him do, he has a chance to go from a nothing in the AHL to a contributor in the NHL. He has those tools. So that's kind of my dark horse. Like, swinging for the fences completely out of nowhere is Nolan Foote.
Yeah, and that's a guy where, like I said before, like he's got to go in and take somebody's job. Like, he's got to make a Nathan Bastian or Michael McLeod expendable. He's got to come in and say, like, I could do what they do, but I could do it better. And he's a little bit cheaper too, and that that makes him attractive to the Devils to keep on their roster, and maybe shed a little money with getting rid of one of those two guys.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Dan, thank you so much for appearing on our fine podcast, The State of the Fan Address, and I'll steal a line from Nick Villano. So tell us what you got. What are you coming out on pucksandpitchforks.com or any other places that you write for?
I'm actually gonna, before the end of the month, I'll have like a little bit of a roster projection, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something that we can look forward to seeing on the website. As far as on the other front with the PHF, it's pretty quiet right now. We're getting closer to the beginning of the season. Waiting for the reveal of the schedule. That's pretty much the next big thing on the docket for them. If anybody out there has any questions about the league, you can reach out to me on Twitter. As you guys said, at D Rice Hockey. If you have questions about the Riveters, where to go see them play, the league in general. I also co-host a podcast over there at the Ice Guard, the Future Considerations podcast. So all you have to do is search for the Ice Garden anywhere you listen to your podcast, and give us a listen and send us questions, all types of things like that. And thanks again to you guys for having me on. You guys have had my back for a long time now. I really appreciate that. And anytime you guys ask to have me on, I'm ready to come on and talk some Devils hockey with you guys.
Well, you know what, Dan? Before we let you go, let me just tell you, not only are you a good friend of the podcast, but you're also a foodie. So me, you, Rebecca, we'll add even Nick, and we got to sit down and just have a nice meal together.
Sounds like a plan.
Sounds like a plan. Well, thank you, Dan, and you have a good evening.
Anytime, everybody out there, stay safe the rest of the summer, and hopefully we'll see you at the Devils games this fall.
Thanks, Dan. That is Dan Rice of pucksandpitchforks.com, credentialed Devils writer. Credentialed Devils writer, giving us his insight, covers the team, asks good questions during the presser, also does PHF, Premier Hockey Federation, also a good friend of Moose, who is also a good friend of the podcast, Rebecca Moose Morse. Nick, you've had the technical difficulties tonight. How did I do? Taking over? He just gives me a thumbs up. Okay. Well, that's good. Well, we're going to end
up. It's just going to break up anyway.
Yeah. Now your feed's doing just fine. No, it goes in and out. We'll have to figure it out, Nick. We'll have to figure out your internet
issues. This is why
issues.
we hate Philadelphia.
Yeah. I mean, their internet sucks. Their team sucks. You know. And we'll be there October 13th somehow for opening night. The Devils take on the Wells at the Wells Fargo Center, taking on the Philadelphia Flyers. I may jump on. I think Julie Robenheimer's doing something with tickets that opening night. I'm going to try to get in on that as well to see the game inside. But then again, I'm usually afraid for my life when I go down to Philadelphia with the Devils jersey on. But
yeah, we'll go, Sam. I'm a pretty big guy.
Yeah, Nick will protect me. All right. Well, I want to thank all those helping out and chiming in, helping me out with some good questions on the YouTube Live. I see you all on the Facebook Live as well, chiming in. Remember to go to pucksandpitchforks.com, premier site. There's some good articles up right now on pucksandpitchforks.com. I'm going to go to that screen real quick. You've got, 7 prospects that will see time in the NHL this season. Good article. Also, the NHL Network names Jack Hughes a top 20 center. That's Vinny Parisi. Just one of many great articles that are out on pucksandpitchforks.com. Go check it out. Nick, we'll figure things out for next week. Well, actually, we should better figure things out by Friday because Friday is a big day. That's when you scheduled the one and only good friend of the podcast, former Devils captain, Bryce Salvador, on a Friday night special. And I'm glad you didn't invite Bryce to tonight's podcast because I would have been really nervous asking him questions. Would have been asking him like dumb questions like, Bryce, why did you jump in when that line brawl happened in Madison Square Garden? Why did you take a dumb penalty? But I'd rather not say that.
Don't ask him that.
Yeah, I think he took a third man in because he tried to help his boy out by just trying to stop a fight. And then technically, I think he got a penalty on that one, if I'm not mistaken.
I think you're right.
Yeah. Well, Nick, I'm going to close the podcast. Kyle says thanks to Dan for the insight. Also, another dark horse, Nico Dawes. I'm not so sure about Nico Dawes making the opening night roster, only because you've got investments on two great, I don't want to say great, two goalies that are vying for the number one job. I think Nico Dawes needs to be in the AHL, not because he sucks. He needs to develop.
I assume that's injury related. He's predicting an injury to either McKenzie or.
Oh,
Vitek.
I don't know. I think he's just liking Nico Dawes, and I don't blame him. But
pretty
again,
good.
Just thank you all those for listening in. We'll be back Friday night 8:30 p.m. Eastern for a special State of the Fan address with Bryce Salvador, folks. Bryce Salvador. He will be in the Primetime Radio studios from MSG Networks, former Devils captain and good friend of the podcast, and really a gentleman and ambassador to the game as well. All right, well, I'm going to hit the button, Nick. Normally I ask any last words, Nick, before we go. Hopefully you get it in. No? Okay. All right. Well, we'll talk afterwards.
I got none.
Dropping the podcast. I'm probably going to drop the good half of the podcast at midnight for your morning and afternoon commute. Remember, Bryce Salvador, Friday night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Stay a fan address here on the Let's Go Devils Network. Well, till next time, let's go Devils.